Welcome, everyone. We're fortunate to have Tom Johnson from Fearings with us today to talk about Home Security 101. Welcome, Tom, and tell us a little bit about Fearings and how you got into the security business.
Sure. Thanks so much, Mike.
Mhm.
Again, I'm Tom Johnson and Fearings Audio and Security. We have offices in Madison and Milwaukee. Doug and Lois Fearing, they started the company about 26 years ago up in the Portage, Baraboo area, and have morphed into this Madison operation. We have about 50 employees. We work on commercial and residential, security, access control, and low voltage technology. One of our techs said the other day, he said, if you can lick the wires and you don't get electrocuted, that's what we do, that low voltage stuff.
Uh-huh.
So, I've been with the company about 3 years now. My previous life, I was a publisher of a newspaper over in Northeast Iowa. Then I came out here and been with the weekly newspapers in the Dane County area, and now morphed into this technology, which is just fascinating. And every day is something new. So I'm anxious to share with you some home security tips and ideas, and might just jump into the presentation if that's okay, Mike.
That's okay, Tom. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm just going to share my screen here. And make sure everybody can see this. Everybody see the big shield?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, this is the corporate logo. You might have seen our trucks driving around town. We have, I don't know, 20 some trucks and about 30 some technicians and so forth. But we live and die by the mantra, making a difference to our customers, the community, and the world. So to Doug Fearing and the crew, it's real important that we do things and do it right. I don't know if you've seen some of our TV commercials, but we have done TV in the past. And uh, today, I'd just like to go through the home security and automation, kind of some of the latest and greatest, and answer any questions you might have. Home Security 101, a little bit of automation. I'm going to just touch on home theaters and home office, but that won't be the focus today. But the security portion is what I'd like to kind of share with you. I will be getting you, I told Mike, some tips that you can download or have or print out or whatever that I'll be going through here. So I'll be emailing those to him so he can disseminate them to the group. So.
And as we have questions, Tom, what should folks do? Which do you prefer to get questions?
Put them in the chat or just hold them and at the end we'll go through them. Or if it's something you want to talk about right now, just break in. So any which way. So this is just a quick overview of the platforms we have, both residential and commercial. Video surveillance would be mostly cameras that we do interior and exterior cameras, and we can do access to pretty much any part of the building with cameras. Access control would be the key fobs in and out of buildings. We do alarm systems. On the right, PoE lighting, that's kind of interesting. That's lighting through low voltage cabling. The computers control lights. So you've seen lights that go purple to red to pink to whatever. We do a lot of lighting control. In the bottom left there, video. We do a lot of video conference rooms. We do video boards, a lot of things, anything video you can imagine. And today it's changing, but we try to stay in that realm. Audio, we do conference room technology. We do audio systems, paging systems in buildings. And then on the far bottom right, the home audio, home office systems, and home theater, and I'll touch on that a little bit more. But this is just kind of a general overview of what Fearings does. I'm not going to spend much time in that. We do work with a lot of big customers in the area. We work with Trek and Kalahari, Marcus Theaters. I'm a little slow in the theater business, but we've done all 50 of their Marcus Theaters in the United States. Line Energy. And then Doug and Lois Fearing feel it's important to give back to the community. So our staff and companies real active with the Salvation Army, River Food Pantry, Boys and Girls Club, Big Sisters, Big Brothers. We actually are doing a bowling event, have in the past, and raising about $4,000 for them. And then in the bottom right, the Fearings have an initiative down in the country of Haiti, in the Caribbean, and there's 6 different schools down there that Fearings does a big gala and raises money for the schools of Haiti. So just touch on that for you briefly. Crime, it's not going away. Um, Out here in Madison, you think, well, Madison's pretty safe. Yes, it is. But there's a 1 in 35 chance of being involved in a crime. FBI has some data that Madison's not one of the safest communities in America relative to Wisconsin. Wisconsin has a crime rate higher than 94% of the state's cities and towns, and you can guess that Milwaukee is number 1 on that hill. So, um, but I just like to reinforce, it's not doom or gloom, but Madison, you have to be respectful of what's going on in our surroundings. And there's a website, and I'll email this to you also. It's called LexisNexis, and you can get reports in any neighborhood of what's going on in that neighborhood through this Nexus or LexisNexis company. And this is what one of the reports look like. And this is around the Stark Real Estate office over on McKee Road down there. But it just shows you the different crimes that have taken place in the last 2 weeks in that area. And there's robbery, there's aggravated assaults, vehicle theft, even a little arson, burglary. It's kind of, there's a lot that's going on in the area, and that this is just a snapshot of the last 2 weeks in that one particular neighborhood to give you some sense. So with this website, if you want to drill into any neighborhood in the Madison or Wisconsin area, like I said, I'll get this link to Mike and he can disseminate that to you. So if you want to do some crime reports or see what's going on in your particular area, you can look it up yourself. Any questions, just jump in. I'll keep going here. Home security. These are some things that you can do without spending a lot of money. They're kind of common sense things, but a lot of times it's good to kind of jog your memory or to understand what you could do. And I will email this tips sheet in a better form, but to you, so you'd have that to print off or to access or to refer back to. Of course, changing locks is important and keeping those locks current and working. Door locks are still one of the primary deterrents for intrusion. Lighting in and around any surrounding, of course, that's critical. Floodlights that have that come on, that's a deterrent a lot of times. If somebody does come to your house, of course, ask for IDs. And we're going to get into some doorbell situations that actually is another layer of security in advance of that. We actually have put in signs in yards and so forth on any security systems that just having that signage out there is a deterrent also of having a security system. It sounds goofy and there's many jokes, but actually dogs are a great deterrent. And even if you put a dog bowl out there or say beware a dog possibly and you don't even have one, those some things like that. Keep your surroundings open where you can look through, trim your greenery. Let's see, talking about vacations. Of course, collect your mail on your way. If you have good neighbors, make sure you're in close contact with them for both you and for them, the neighborhood watch type principle. Windows are important. Again, make sure that they're reinforced and not easily penetrated. And then inside the home, mark your valuables. So if somebody does get them, there's ways you can mark them with ultraviolet pens, and the ultraviolet pens can only be seen with a certain blacklight type situation. So that if there be any kind of police findings, then those would be easily identifiable. Secure your filing cabinets, of course. There's even anymore, there's different security safes that are disguised to look like different things in the house that don't represent an actual security device. So those are kind of fun to look at. Clamp your garage door inside. There's a way to not only have your garage door down, but there's most garage doors you can clamp it on a padlock or something inside, so there's no breach of that garage door. Um, Replace any rotted windows or window frames. If somebody's looking at your house and there's some easily penetratable windows, make sure that's taken care of. And invest in smart home technology. There's some things that we can look at here that kind of talk about that. Uh, Home security systems. Today, there's a lot of high resolution images through cameras. They're 4K or 8K, meaning you get very good resolution, and they reach out 20, 30 yards, and you can pick out license plates or pick out faces, a lot of things that are um, embedded with those cameras today. Push notifications, so if there's a video occurrence, you get a notification that comes to your um, portable device or your computer, however you want that. A lot of times we're recording, so we record all the different incidents and you can play back those recordings. So if you need to get an incident to the police, you just send that recording to the police and they can have a lot better access to what you saw, what happened. And then total control, you want to try to control through apps on your phone or iPad or computer, or a lot of times on the countertop of a house or a wall mount, a keypad, you can control everything, but having that control is important. And a lot of these systems now, you can integrate your home automation, your home alarm system, indoor and outdoor, with 24/7 monitoring. There's monitoring companies that will actually alert you to what is happening and send the police out if there's an incident and you don't respond back to it. Home automation. Anymore in the home, there's all kinds of things you can do as far as lighting. You can control all your lights. You can control access in and out through keypads, through fobs, where you can just have a fob system to get into your house. We even have on your cell phone now where you can present your cell phone to your door, and the door will recognize your cell phone and let you in the house or not let you in the house. Audio control. A lot of times people like speakers in the house, and we can do speakers throughout Sonos system where they're independent of each room. Climate control, you can control your heating and air conditioning from your phone or your iPad. Plumbing, there's smart toilets now. We work with First Supply, and if you walk by your toilet, it'll actually, the lid will go up or go down, however you want it. You have a heated toilet, you get music playing at your toilet. You can do a lot of things with automation with plumbing also. The shower, you can walk into your shower and say, turn on to, or Alexa, turn on my shower to 72 degrees with whatever radio station you want, and the shower will come on and the lights will be on, however you want to set that up. So even in plumbing now, there's home automation. And like we talked about, home security systems, cameras, and so forth.
Tom, let me interrupt real quick here. You mentioned fob systems. Um, I've heard that there are ways for criminals to copy the signal that's coming from key fobs. Is that true? And what can you do to combat such a thing? I just use a key as they don't have my key, they're not going to get in unless they break a window, I guess. But just having my key fob hang someplace and somebody's able to copy that, geez, what can you
Sure.
do?
Well, that's the HID system, and that's the Hughes technology out in California. Um, it's been around for 50 years, 40 years, and those older fob systems, they were lower encryption and didn't have the security, and people figured out how to get into those older fob systems. The newer ones you don't have to worry about. They're encrypted and have a two-way communication channel. So if it's an older system, you can have those fobs reworked, and it's not that costly to do that. But I think actually in college dorms, they're on some of those fobs. Some of the college kids were duplicating fobs for a couple bucks for their girlfriends and stuff. But um, so they're just upgrading or kind of checking into your fob system if you have a question. Makes sense to look at that. So it's a good
Is,
question. Thank you, Mike.
is there a rule of thumb as to what constitutes a newer system?
10 years, I guess I'd look at.
Within the last 10 years, that would be newer?
Yes. Hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions? Just jump in. And then in home security, there's different protection that we offer. Uh, One is, and it sounds, it's not really security from burglars, but we have water damage protection where if you have a water leak, you get a notice on your phone or your iPad or your computer that there's a water leak detected. And we've actually have them where that'll shut the main water valve off to your home, so you don't have to worry about that. We talked about video surveillance and monitoring. Um, you're controlling your HVAC system is actually, you can save a bunch of money from your utility costs by having your system monitored. Uh, Fire and carbon monoxide safety. You can tie these carbon monoxide and fire detectors to your home security system. Lighting we talked about where you can have smart lighting. You can make your house appear occupied when you're out of town. You can check to see if the lights are on. You can turn the lights on and off from your phone. Um, it's just total control of how you want to have your system set up. And that's the part that our company offers, is that our technologies and engineers try to dumb it down, meaning we make it as simple as we possibly can for the end user so that they don't have three remotes just to turn their TV on. We just try to set it up so they have one remote and push green button and those kind of things. So we really make an effort to keep technology working but simple, if that makes any sense. And then awareness, you can, your garage door, there's sensors we put in your garage door, very inexpensive, but it'll tell you if your garage door is up or down. If you go to bed at night and your garage door is up, it'll give you an alert saying, whoops, you better shut your garage door. There are different things, and if you're away, you can see if your garage door has been up or down or who's accessing your garage door. If you give the code out to somebody and you're not sure if they have it or not. Um, so there's just a lot of things that you can integrate into a home, and most people don't do everything all at once. They kind of build the system year after year and kind of find what's important to them, but start with a basic system that kind of works for them. We do home theater design. Not going to spend much time on that, but we do full home theater systems, or we do just a sound bar and a big screen TV. So um, one of the things that are happening more and more, and with any age group, people are home more. The home office or home domain, of course, is lived in and used. And for office technology, there's a lot of things that people can look at to make their office technology work for them. One of the biggest things would be your wireless router. Is that anymore it seems like to sneeze you need to have an internet connection in the home even. So having that seamless internet connection throughout the house, we have systems that we make sure that there's internet throughout the house and you don't have dead spots, so that your devices and whatever you have are working for you and not working against you. Not going to spend much time on that. We do pride ourselves at feelings about our technology, or excuse me, our technicians, excuse me. The technicians that we have are very highly rated. We have a rating system. In the last 5 years, our technicians have had an 8 or above 95% of the time. So we're real proud of that, where that not only do we do the technology, but before we leave, we make sure that that technology is working. The homeowner is satisfied as to how it's working, and if there's any glitches, we make sure we get on top of it and take care of it, because technology can be very frustrating very quickly. Like I said, when you can't even get your TV turned on, we're there to help you. So, and now if there's questions, I know Mike mentioned one question, and it's a good one that came up. I'll just answer in advance that you can go out and you can go to Best Buy maybe, or Costco, and buy a $50 $200 system or whatever it might be, and there's a value inherent in it. The thing that we offer is the added value where we install it, we train, we make sure that system's working properly, and then we use products that are warranted, and we stand behind them. In fact, the U.S. government's outlawed a lot of cameras because they're coming from China, where China embedded a chip in them, and they were actually spying on our governmental agencies because they sold us these cheap cameras that we didn't know there's a chip embedded in them. So it's one of the old axioms: you get what you pay for sometimes. And the cameras, like there's Ring doorbell and those kind of things, and just for maybe a doorbell, that's fine, but they don't really integrate into a total system that people like to have and to use in their homes. So I don't know if that answers that question, Mike, a little better or not, but that's how we view it anyway.
Right. So there have always been questions. I mean, you see advertised regularly that law enforcement is interested in cooperating with residential camera operators to solve crimes. What sort of liabilities are there? Is it mandatory to give your recordings? Do you have to worry about any of that kind of thing when you're dealing with home security cameras?
Sure. We're partnered with a company called Access Communications, and Access actually has a program that they have developed with police departments to integrate and assist in that very thing you're talking about. And of course, the homeowner has total control of, granting access or letting those things be viewed. I mean, generally, it's in the best interest of them to have that, available and viewed. But if there's some reason that they don't want to, they sure have total control of that. And to that point, also, the cameras we put in now are the two-way encrypted cameras that are 900 megahertz, which means the hackers can't get into those cameras that we install. And again, that goes to your point on the value thing, where if you're going to go and buy a cheap Best Buy camera, a lot of times hackers can get into those systems because they're not two-way encryption, or they don't have that higher megahertz speed. So you put yourself at risk a little bit more of being hacked with an inexpensive camera, where we have the ways that we don't let that happen. It does not happen at all.
I have a
Harold.
question.
Sure, Harold.
I have an older alarm and intrusion and fire alarm system that I put in my home 45 years ago when it was built. So there are some, technical concerns I have. It does work fine, but would like to modernize it somewhat. I'm assuming with all of these smart issues or devices you have, one has to maintain an internet connection. I'm seasonal, so typically I turn off my TV and internet when I'm not in Wisconsin. Am I correct in assuming that for any of these devices we have to maintain an internet connection?
No, we have a company called WH Monitoring. We've used them for 15 years. And no, you don't have to be tied to the internet to get that remote access.
Great.
There's some other ways around it. And as far as the equipment, sometimes if it's hardwired, existing wiring can be used, and you just might have to replace the head end or a few little devices and keep your system intact. They're all a little different, of course. But we have a no cost checkup on systems, so that if there's an older system out there and you want to look at upgrades, we give different options or show you different choices as to how that could be upgraded the most cost-effective way, instead of just tearing out the whole system and putting in a new one. So every solution or every household is a little different, so we just like to do it on a one-on-one basis.
Okay, if one would like to have someone stop out and go through all of this, do you have a consultation type offering that you do?
Yep, we sure do. There's no charge for it. And
Okay.
we do it week in and week out, and we have a a number of different experts. We're used to working with these situations, and like I said, the homeowner is in control, but it's a way to kind of take a look at a snapshot of what they have and how they could improve their situation.
Great. I'd be very interested in doing that when I get back in Wisconsin.
Okay.
I haven't written down any information, your contact information. I'm assuming that you will provide Mike with all of that contact information so that we will probably get an email and be able to find you that way.
Exactly right. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And if you know the chat, my contact information is the very first chat up there on the top.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the easiest way to get a hold of me, but
Great.
sure. Any other questions out there?
Sorry, I have one. We have a cottage in central Wisconsin that's out in the boonies. So if we do any kind of security system, we're going to have to do it ourselves, I think. We don't need much, but we just got smartphones and launched into the 21st century. And I was thinking getting something like a Ring so that I could see if anybody coming to our door up there, basically,
Sure.
and some motion sensing lights. And that's probably all we need up there. But what would be your recommendation for something like that?
Well, we have a program called DIT. It's called Do It Together, where we'll kind of get the right solution. The one seems to be like DMP. It's out of St. Louis that we use. And the Do It Together, we do all the pre-programming, and then we mail to you the equipment. And the equipment then would be like when you're up at your cottage, you would just put the door contacts. There's one magnetic on one side and one on the other, and you just put those up there with self-adhesive tape. And then we do all the pre-programming so that you just put your keypad in your counter or your wall, and everything's all done as far as the programming to match everything up. And you just install it yourself, and there's like $49 cost to program that and then mail it to you. So it can be done where you don't have to send a technician out, and you could probably do a simple system yourself.
Yeah, how much does the hardware cost for that?
Everyone's different. Some people do it on a monthly basis. Some do it on just purchasing outright.
Right.
You can start at $600 and go up to $6,000. But
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be overkill. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Tom, sometimes I look at these, Ring has their Ring neighbors, and you see these videos, and yeah, I see somebody came and knocked on my door and he tried to pull it open, but the resolution is so bad that it's almost unhelpful. It's more like it scares you into having bad dreams for the next couple of weeks. What level of resolution do you need to actually identify a suspect and make it useful to law enforcement?
Sure. I'm just going to pull up my phone here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's probably pretty. This is my home doorbell that I have in my home, and it's a 2 megapixel camera, and you can set the sensitivity of it, and it's an IR, meaning at night you get just as clear a picture. It's in black and white, but just as clear a picture as you would in the daytime. So today's technology, those cameras that we use, give you what you want for that clarity. And then a lot of times we find is that they're so clear that it's reaching out and it's picking up motion that you don't want. So we have to back that motion field off, and because it's a clear, crystal clear picture that the resolution is so good. So
Okay.
That brings up another problem I might have with our cottage.
okay.
99 times out of 100, it's going to be a deer walking through our driveway, setting that thing off, or a raccoon or something like that. And I don't want to get a notification on my phone in the middle of the night that a raccoon is trying to get in or walking by my house. Is there any way that can do human detection versus animal detection?
You can set the sensitivity on those. They even have like pet features where if you have a large dog or a small dog or cat or whatever, it has a sensitivity feature that it'll not record those things. So we work with the homeowner to make sure that sensitivity is, like you want. And and sometimes it's trial and error. You'll get it where you do pick up all the raccoons and turkeys, whatever. Then you back it off, and then you're not getting enough. So you just kind of have to tweak it to whatever works for you.
Okay, thanks.
What would be some different considerations? I mean, we have our regular residences, but if you're thinking about security at a group home or a care facility, what are some of the special considerations that you would need to consider?
Sure. Privacy is the main one. You got to be very careful of what's being shown where, and um, not intruding in somebody's private space. That's probably one of the main ones. And then one since you brought up gunshot detection, and they're out of Baraboo, and it's in a space like a nursing home or a school or whatever, that if there's any kind of incident that's picked up by these sensors, and automatic alerts go off to the police or the administrator or whoever, as to there's an incident at those facilities. So there's, besides just the camera system, there's things that we do for nursing home facilities and extended care and so forth. Access into them. Also, like I mentioned, the access is real critical. We have body and heat cameras, meaning the camera senses the body temperature, and it will not let people into the facility if they have a temperature. They're denied access unless they get checked out a little further. So a lot of times, we like TDS and some other places, their employees have to go in front of the camera and make sure that they have their body temperatures, the correct body temperature. So there's a lot of different solutions that we look at using technology to solve those things.
So how do you regulate these privacy concerns? If someone doesn't set up their camera right, you could be covering the entire boulevard, right? I mean, is there any privacy concern for the homeowner?
Outdoor wise, it's open domain. So whatever somebody can see just standing in a public space, that's public space. You can see what you can see. So there's no restrictions there. Um, and in a private domicile or a commercial, the owner can control what is being seen inside that area.
Mhm, mhm.
Does that answer that question? Maybe not.
Sort of. I mean, you get to wondering, to what degree would my video drag me into something? I see Allison has a question. Go ahead, Allison, chime in.
Yes, when we bought the house that we're living in, it has really quite a sophisticated sort of security system, which is also linked into an intercom system and a radio. We have never figured out how to use any of this because we don't have the code. The people that we bought the house from never gave us the code, and I don't even know that they had the code. Now, of course, with some of the windows and doors and things, as we have had them replaced, the sensors, of course, won't work anymore anyway. And we've had the battery for this system taken out now because it was linked into, obviously, the electrical supply. So it was using electricity that we didn't think was terribly sensible. So if we, is it possible to like take all of this stuff out and then replace it today?
um, we'd have to take a look at it, and yes, anything's possible. And sometimes we can actually use some of the main portions of that system and not have to gut everything and take everything out, where we would just replace and put in to make the system work as you would wish. Um, so we just have to come out and kind of take a look. We've actually, last week we worked with the homeowner that didn't have the codes, and we were able to backtrack and get those codes reinstated. I don't know how they do it, but our engineers are pretty amazing with technology. But every system is different, and we just have to come out and take a look at it and kind of give you our um, opinion onto what different options you'd have, and how you want to have that system working for yourself. That make sense?
It does. The only thing, of course, is that, well, we've been here 20 years. And so we've not used this system in that long. And I really wouldn't think that quite a lot of it
Sure.
is terribly useful anymore. So probably we would just want to make sure that we took out things that we could take out.
Right.
Because with a system like this, we've got intercoms attached to walls, and we've got a radio that's in there that doesn't work. I mean, so we would want to probably take some of these things just out without sort of yanking the whole system out.
Right.
And then putting in, I mean, some drywall, I would think, to replace the holes and things. But there are some things that we have available to us today that, yes, we would kind of like. I don't know that I'm not terribly fond of Ring, because I think that there are some problems with it. But are there other systems besides Ring?
Yes, and back to your taking things out and so forth. Yes, we would work with you and kind of give you what we would see working in that situation. And some of the hardwire might be well and fine in place that we could access and have a little bit of a different security system, but utilize some of the back infrastructure in that setting. I'm not sure. We'd have to look at it. And back to the Ring, we use 3 different companies. One's called DMP out of St. Louis. It's an American company. We've had really good luck with them. Another one's Claire Controls, and then there's some of the Honeywell systems. So we match up the systems for a house as to what their needs are. We found that there's some systems like Claire will have certain features that DMP might not, that seem to suit that homeowner best. So we really make an effort to match the system to the homeowner and what their needs are.
Well, that would be interesting for us, because I'm a true believer in go American as opposed to go China.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Thank you very much indeed. We'll probably give you a jingle.
Great, thank you. Any other questions out there? All right, I got a quick story for you. There's this little guy that was born, and his name was Odd, ODD, and his parents had a real funny sense of humor, but they named him Odd, and he was teased with that name his whole life. And he finally told his wife, he says, "Honey, when I pass away," he said, "on my headstone, I just want the year I was born, the year I died. I don't want anything else." About 10 years later, the poor guy passes, and the wife complies with his wishes and puts that headstone up there the year he died, or year he born, and year he died. Wouldn't you know, everybody going down through that cemetery look down and they go, "Huh, isn't that odd?"
I saw that one coming.
That was good.
All right, that's your story for the day.
So Tom, I was thinking about these wireless systems, and Harold brought up the point that he's only there once in and the internet may not have connected. How do you get a reliable system? I mean, are all systems wireless these days, or are there hardwired systems that, I've got one of the homes, like Allison said, there are wires everywhere because, back in the 80s, 70s, who knows when they put these in, there are wires all over the place, and that was the only way to do it. But what is the difference, and when would you use one versus the other, and how could you create a backup so that, if the internet's on the blink, you're still covered?
Sure. A lot of times we'll use cell phone backup, which is different than the internet, of course. So it's tied to the cell phone system, the towers, the cell towers, instead of the actual internet. So a lot of times we'll back it up. We'll use phone. A lot of time we're utilizing just a regular telephone system that bypasses and backs things up that way. There's microwave towers that can the system, so you're not totally dependent on internet, because yes, it's internet's down, it seems like life stops, but and these have a 6-hour battery backup. Most of the time that takes care of things, and if it doesn't, it records things to the cloud, so we have cloud access to things. So we really circumvent that dependence on internet when we need to, and back things up that way.
Are there any considerations for electricity going out? I mean, do you have
The battery backup.
backups?
Right, right. And then some people buy generators and have a generator, so I mean, they're just, yeah.
Okay, right.
So you can actually use a cell phone as a hotspot, which serves basically the same purpose as your internet service does, right?
Yeah, it's cell phone backup, right?
Right.
Yeah,
A lot of technology out there.
sure. Another real quick, I don't know how much time we got, but one that's interesting is called geo-fencing your house, and I may be getting way over everything, but where you put an electronic signal around your house, and if you drive away from your house with your cell phone, the lights will turn off, the garage door will make sure it's down, the heat will turn down. All these things will happen when you drive away from your home. And then if you drive up to your home within 3 miles, 4 miles, whatever you set, your heat will come on, your lights will go on, your garage door will go up, whatever you want to have happen will happen just by having this geo fence around your house. So it's like, if you can imagine it anymore, technology wise, it could probably be done.
As long as all these bells and whistles keep working. You're adding more things that can go wrong.
Sure. That's why we build in redundancies and those kind of things to make sure that you don't get caught. So
Yeah.
So how do you, I mean, if are any of these security systems attached to notification of the police department or 911, any of these kind of things? Can you incorporate health warnings into these? You know, if you have, there used to be, you know, the advertisement with grandma would fall down and she would click her buzzer and I've fallen down and I can't get up, you know, and all of a sudden somebody appears to help. Do any of these systems do that kind of thing?
you're talking about Life Alert, but yes,
Oh, Life Alert, okay.
right. But what we offer to that point would be like this DMP system that I mentioned. They have a bracelet that you can wear, and you again push a button, and it will contact the authorities. It's not quite as robust as Life Alert, but the other portion is we have, like I mentioned earlier, a monitoring company that we use, and it's 24/7 monitoring. And if any of your sensors go off, let's say you're away from the house and somebody broke into your house and the door sensor went off, that triggers a call right to the monitoring company, and then they call the homeowner with a primary phone number, and then the homeowner says, no, nobody's home, there shouldn't be anybody in that door, send the police out. And if they call the first number and somebody doesn't answer, then the monitoring company calls the second number on file, and they'll say, you know, is this supposed to take place? And again, depending on the situation, they'll either call the police or ambulance or whatever needs to be called, fire, depending on the emergency situation that's at hand. So it's 24/7 monitoring, and the homeowner controls all that.
So there'd normally be this intermediary between the police and the homeowner. There would be this monitoring company ordinarily.
Yes,
which
right.
I suppose a big advantage because 911 is often overtaxed the way it is.
Sure.
And we see in Madison that the substantial portion of the day, you know, 10 or 15% of the day, frequently police officers are unavailable except for high priority calls. And so even 911 can be difficult to get the service you're looking for.
Yep. Very good.
So do any of these connect to, you know, smartwatches like the Samsung systems, you know, or the Apple systems? Are there
Sure.
any of these that you would, or I guess maybe they go through apps? How do you do that?
Sure. Yeah. If you can get it on your phone or your watch app, whichever, it doesn't matter to the system. You just put that system to whatever device you want it to be, an iPad, your computer, a laptop, your phone, a phone watch, any of those devices you can control, get notifications, and all the different features are used by using these apps like you're talking about.
Okay.
The other thing that I reinforce is that we help install. We literally our techs will install on your watch or on your phone or whatever, and the customer. And before we leave, we make sure that you have a comfort level and able to use that. And that's why we get such high rating with our technicians, because we take the extra time to make sure that the customer's happy and everything's working properly.
Yeah, I know that, we've got a number of situations where people are being given computers, but they have no idea how to use the things. And so, of course, you can always, I imagine, go on the internet and find, the technical advice yourself, which works out in many cases as well.
Most people say, "Give me the baby, not the labor pains."
Yeah.
Other questions?
Well, great. I will get in touch with Mike and have him email out to this group the tip sheets. I'll include my contact information and that Nexus Lexus site that you can access to check out your own neighborhood, to kind of see what's going on for crime in your own neighborhood. So that's kind of
Great.
so.
Appreciate that. Good
Yeah.
job.
Well, good questions. I enjoyed the group.